Alright, I'm back. Alright. So this is Final Fantasy VII Remake. This is the newest trailer that was just revealed. You guys want to hear some thoughts and talk about this for a little bit, so let's talk about it. But first, let's check out the trailer. Now, I streamed Final Fantasy VII. Most of you know this. I streamed Final Fantasy VII like a few months ago. Wasn't that long ago. So this is still, the game is still fresh in my mind, as it is for many of you. So this includes gameplay. So let's take a look.
I still don't see why we brought a Shinra soldier along. No way he'd throw all that away for us. What's his name, anyway?
Cloud Strife. And he says it's former soldier. Look, heavy security like this, you want a professional.
Jesse and I think that was Biggs. I mean, it looks great. It's even better than the cutscenes were.
You best be worth it.
Look, I don't care about your politics.
Barrett, wearing sunglasses at night indoors, and he's been on a diet of extreme kale. Notice the Tomb Raider influence. Cloud squeezing through little crevasses. Very shiny sword. Very skinny arms. Then again, he was pretty much a Mako addict.
You're doing this for the planet.
Look, I love this face. Look at the
Wedge.
wedge face. This is so perfect. It's just for a second. I want to just look at the weight, like the animation here of Cloud moving to face the soldier with the sword. That big fucking sword in his hands. Like it works. It's a really good animation. Like the sword kind of like follows over slowly.
Back here.
Like how does he carry that thing? Anyway, this is the gameplay. It looks like a crazy Crisis Core. No more turn-based. But you'll notice it said action, attack, summon, magic. That boss looks great.
Okay, let's move.
Barrett sounds too cool for school. I mean, it looks fantastic. Graphically, it looks so good. I really, I'm excited. I am excited for this game. It looks great. I guess my initial thoughts about the gameplay are as follows. I know a lot of people are upset that the turn-based is gone. A lot of people are really vocal about that. I'm with you. But the original has the turn-based gameplay. The original's not going anywhere. They're gonna want me to shell out a lot of money for this game. Presumably more than the average game. I'm presuming that... You shouldn't presume. A wise man once told me that, but I'm presuming there's gonna be more of a cost because the game is gonna be episodic, which we learned after. So everyone got off in their pantaloons, and then, like a few days later, when the hype kind of died down a little bit, Sony was like, by the way, or Square was like, by the way, this game is going to be told in multiple experiences, or something. But I'll elaborate on that in a minute. Let's not go there yet. But if I'm going to be spending a lot of money for this game, I almost wouldn't mind a new combat system, because I want to play through it again, and I want it to feel fresh. I want it to feel new. So I'm okay with trying it from a different gameplay perspective. Doesn't mean I have to like it the whole way through, but I'm understanding of the decision that Square made. So I'm not at all upset about the decision to remove the, I can't say at all. I'm not overly upset about the decision to remove the turn-based combat. Listen, it's 2015. Turn-based combat has not been a very popular gameplay thing with a lot of games. A lot of RPGs have, like, Square has been implementing more action in their RPGs. So there's not a whole lot of, I think, there's not a whole lot of incentive if Square wants to sell a fuckload of units to maybe a new audience that has never experienced Final Fantasy VII, if the game plays like, you know, a turn-based game. That's not what's in right now. So, from a sales perspective, I get why they updated the gameplay to be more like action-y, more like Final Fantasy, what, 15? And Crisis Core. Again, to full disclosure, I have not played 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 looks pretty cool, but I haven't, you know, I haven't played. Was there a demo that came out for that? I don't even know. I thought there was. But I think, yeah, listen, if I'm gonna get this remaster, this update, this remake, this reimagining, I'm okay with new gameplay, as long as they do a good job with it. Now, you'll notice during the battle scenes here, you'll see we got attack, magic, summon, items, defend, right? So I'm assuming there's gonna be, it's gonna be kind of like a real-time thing. You'll notice that Cloud and Barret switch off. Like you'll see, there's Cloud, there's Barret, there's Cloud, there's Barret, and it looks like Cloud's off fighting somewhere in the distance, while Barret shoots his lasers. So it looks like you can switch between characters on the fly. That's just a thought. Maybe there's real-time weapon change, who knows? I'm thinking the game is gonna have some method where you can, you know, select the character's action, they'll do the action, and then you can leave them, let them do their thing, and then go switch to the other character. So for example, if you leave Barret on attack, he'll just attack randos. If you, leave him on magic, he'll use his magic. Maybe you have control over how they react. I have not played a newer Square combat system similar to this, so I don't know. But it could be cool, because I can see the potential for strategy being... It's gonna feel like a completely different game with relics of Final Fantasy VII, and I'm okay with that. Like, if Barret is gonna use, you know, ice, and then I can switch back to Cloud and kick some ass with his sword, and then switch back to Barret, and then maybe go to, like, Tifa and cast haste on Cloud. Maybe that takes a second to cast. Alright, Cloud's now hasted, I can go back to him, fight with haste. While that's happening, go back to Barret, summon. While he's summoning, I can switch back to Tifa, punch some people in the face, maybe use some more support magic, maybe they're, like, poisoning my party, so I can, you know, cure them, and then go back to Cloud. So, I kinda understand how it would work. It's different. We have to get used to it if we end up playing the game. So, I would always just say though, for people who are really upset that they're not adhering to a strict remake, like, you have Twilight Princess Remake, which is just updated textures, and almost everything else will probably be the same, maybe some minor gameplay changes. This is a totally different thing. I mean, this is gonna be a completely different game. And, I mean, just the robot itself, you know, looks so fucking cool. So, I'm excited, you know, I'm being wowed by these graphics, because I do still like Final Fantasy VII. I know it's in vogue to hate the game, but I just streamed it, and it was hard to hate. It was pretty good. It still kinda holds up in some regards. My friend Mike played it when he was older, so he didn't have the nostalgia, so he doesn't really like Final Fantasy VII. But I think the nostalgia definitely is blinding me, and it's hard to see past it. There are flaws in the game, definitely, but I still really liked it. And I'm definitely excited to get back in and see what happens, see how this whole thing plays out. Barret looks a little weird, sounds a little bit different than he did in Advent Children. He's definitely not as Mr. T as he was written in Final Fantasy VII, so I'm wondering how they're gonna do that. I'm wondering what the script updates are gonna be like, I'm wondering what the story updates are gonna be like. So, there's still a lot of ifs, but I am excited, and I think that the whole Midgar thing that we just saw, it's definitely encouraging. I'm encouraged to waste my money on this. I suppose we should talk about the episodic thing, because people have been talking about that. Not exact quotes, but the gist of it is that they're going to be releasing Final Fantasy VII in episodes, like with full gameplay experiences and full and different gameplay experiences or something like that. And there's going to be like, you know, whole pieces of the story that you'll have to wait for because it'll be an episode. Part of me, most of me hates that. Because me and Konome were talking about this actually. It comes down to losing interest between episodes, and also of how much money they're going to expect me to shell out for each episode. Like, am I getting the first disc of Final Fantasy VII in one episode, and then I have to wait a year or like 6 months for the next one? If so, it's lame. It's a little lame. If it means we're gonna get the game earlier, then I guess that's okay. Because it means that they get to develop the first disc, right? Let's just say the first disc is its own chapter, comes out next year, which it won't, but 2017. I think that'll probably be that's the 20th anniversary of Final Fantasy VII. So I would say 2017 is when we'll get this game. So if it means that we don't have to wait 5 years for the game, that's one positive. The second positive is they can really polish the shit out of the game and make it good. I'm trying to look at this from a positive perspective, because honestly that news kind of killed it for me a little bit. You know, maybe Square's really gonna work on this and make it good, and really try to get these episodes as polished as possible. On the other hand, I'm worried they're gonna charge $40 per episode. There's gonna be 3 episodes. Congratulations, you just spent $120 on a video game. And at first, $40 for the, you know, Final Fantasy VII. Oh yeah, that's $40. That's not even the price of a full game. And you're getting like 10 to 15 hours of gameplay. You know, in 1997, you would spend the $50-$60 and you would get your 40 hours, 50 hours, and more for a lot of people. So it's definitely, I'm worried. You know, and a lot of people are worried. And again, it's good they didn't drop that bombshell at the conference, because a lot of people would have been upset. So, now, why am I assuming? Just to throw out scenarios. That's what people wanted me to do. They wanted me to talk about it, so I'm just throwing out potential scenarios. I know there's a lot of fans that don't want me to say that. They don't want me to even think about $40 per disc. Again, I have no information about that, but let's just... That's the worst case scenario. Best case scenario, it's like Walking Dead. You spend $60, you get a season pass, and then every 6 months to a year or whatever, you get a new episode of the game. But the way the market is now, the way development costs are now, which are very expensive, I have a hard time believing this game is going to only be $60. That's what I'm saying. I wanted to talk about something that my friend Mike, my friend Tyler, and I were talking about, which is, why is Final Fantasy VII being remade? Why is 7 getting the grand treatment? Where the devil's advocate, my friend Mike, would say that it has the weakest story, it's got some, you know, memorable music and characters, but the characters were kind of lame, like in motivation sense. You know, and all like the forced cool moments and edginess, he's not a fan, and he thinks that 7 is one of the weaker entries in the series. A lot of people believe that. And you know what? They're right to some extent. Final Fantasy VII is not the most amazing Final Fantasy game. I've played maybe half of the series, and I can already pinpoint 6 and 9 being better than 7 in my opinion. 4 might even be better than 7 in some ways, for me. You know, and that's the kind of thing that, it's like, well, 7 is the one that made the biggest impression on people. 7's the one that people still talk about. Cloud is still the most recognizable Final Fantasy character. for a lot of reasons. 7 really like tapped into that vein when it came out. It got everyone's attention. I was 13. The game was perfect for me. Like, the edginess, which, you know, wasn't as bad as I thought it would be when I restreamed it, but it was definitely what 13-year-old me needed at that time, or wanted, rather. The world was cool. Midgar was cool as fuck. Final Fantasy VII is also, the success of this game is, I think, a direct result of the marketing. The commercials were badass. That, you know, the magazine advertisements made me interested. The CG graphics, like the FMVs, like blew me the fuck away. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, this fucking game. I need to get a PlayStation just so I could play this game. And I did. It worked. It actually, the marketing worked on me. And it was just, it was the biggest game for Square. It raised Square's profile, and people still have a very strong emotional attachment to 7, and less so to 8 and 9, and then the rest. And now they're kind of in this, you know, there's this weird spot where the Final Fantasy series doesn't have as much clout as it used to. You know, it still has dedicated fans, and many, many, many of them, but not nearly as much as when Final Fantasy VII first came out. So that's why we're getting 7, and not, let's say, a remake of 6 or 9. You know, we're getting 7 because this is the one that people, it sold the best, and it had the most emotional impact and resonance on the biggest amount of people for some reason. It was a great tech showcase for the PlayStation, and now we're getting it. And again, if you really dig deep into the story of like Jenova and Sephiroth and the motivations of these characters, you can piece it together. Like, you can find a way for it to make sense, but it's really fucking weird. Like, when I was a kid, I had no idea what the fuck Jenova was. You know, I mean, yeah, maybe I knew generally it was an alien, but the motivations of these characters, some of it's a little weak, the translation's a little fucked up, the story's kind of like, eh. It's the overall themes, I think, that resonated with people, but the minutia, the details of the story, I don't think they really had too much cohesion without really looking into it. Which I think they said they were gonna update the story, so they're probably gonna take a closer look at that and maybe update it and really translate it properly this time. So, who knows, this might be, you know, to be positive again, this might be a chance for Final Fantasy VII to be the game that it could have been, which was still a great game, but slightly better. So, who knows? You know, this could be great. I guess in conclusion, well, actually, before I do that, I will say this though. Mike has described this as a Hail Mary attempt on Square Enix's part to get that attention, to like, because the company isn't doing amazing by some accounts. I don't know. Again, I'm kind of talking out my ass, but I'm sure you can confirm on your own, or others can confirm it, that this is an attempt for Square to regain relevance and money. So, you know, this was the big thing that everyone was asking for years. Why now? Well, this was it. This was the last card in the playbook. So, and a lot of people in the chat right now are saying it's definitely a Hail Mary. So, yeah, maybe. Also, yeah, I guess finally, before I go to Fallout 4, it's just kind of one of those things that I am excited about. I'm going to be tempering my expectations, but I will stream it. I want to definitely see how the development goes along and get some closer looks at it, maybe next year's E3, and hopefully we'll get some more concrete evidence that the game is going to be good, because right now, graphically, it's amazing, and it has potential to be a really great remake. The episodic thing has turned me off, and I hope they do it right, and I hope they don't do it wrong. And there's many ways to do it wrong. But it's still, you want to just have that complete game. It would be great if, like, 2017 comes and it's just one game on one big PlayStation disc or whatever system, and it's like, there it is. You get the collector's edition, if that's what you're into, and it's just one disc, the whole game, start to finish, Final Fantasy VII, completely updated. That's kind of what we wanted, but instead we're getting episodic. So, yeah, I'm still excited, but it's a little bit... There's some reservations. So there you go. That's how I feel about it. Do you guys have any questions? Oh, open world, if there's no open world. Yeah, one of the things that made Final Fantasy VII great for me, too, was the open world. So I hope they retain that. I definitely hope they retain that.